Hello and welcome back to Podium Pop. My name is Celine and this is my co-host Gracie. We are a Formula One / motorsport podcast. We do also discuss Indycar. This weekend we'll be discussing some endurance racing, and we sprinkle in a bunch of different motorsport news. So at this point, it's a motorsport podcast.
Sure is.
Before we get started, go ahead and make sure you're following us on TikTok, on Instagram, on Twitter. We post a lot on TikTok, so make sure you're following us on there. We also post on Instagram quite a bit. So this episode, we are going to be discussing how we watched Le Mans for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
We also have some general Formula One news, some general IndyCar news, and some predictions for the upcoming race weekend. So let's go ahead and pop the bottle and get right into the episode.
Let's get right into it.
So this was not our first endurance race we watched, because we did watch Daytona 24-hour.
Yeah.
But it's definitely more, Le Mans is definitely just more iconic.
Yeah, for sure.
What were your initial thoughts? What did you think?
I really liked Le Mans. I mean, I really liked Daytona.
Yeah.
When Daytona happened, we figured out about the Daytona 24 maybe a week before it happened.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing qualifying for it, and I was like, what's Pato doing in a race right now? And then we just hyperfixated on it so hard. The same thing happened for Le Mans.
Yeah. So whenever the Daytona race happened, I had COVID, so we watched it separate. So it definitely was a lot more fun watching it together.
Yeah.
We literally I went over to Grace's apartment and we basically sat there for 24 hours and watched the whole thing. We were gone for a little bit. But we pretty much sat there and watched the whole thing. We had a friend come over to watch with us for a little bit. It was just fun watching it with other people.
It was a lot of fun.
It was one of those things that I definitely was sad when it was over.
I literally remember, it was 16 hours, and I was like, oh, there's only 16 hours left?
Yeah.
And then we woke up in the morning, and I was like, only 2 hours left?
I know, it was so disappointing. I tried so hard to stay awake for as long as possible. I ended up going to sleep at 1, I think.
Yeah.
And then, what time did you go to sleep?
I for sure watched the end of the second safety car, which we'll talk about that in a second. And I watched for a little bit, maybe around 2:30ish. I don't know, somewhere in the 2 o'clock hour.
Yeah. And then we randomly both woke up around 6 a.m. So watched I watched maybe half an hour, and then I went back to sleep until around 8:30, and then watched the last hour and a half.
Yeah.
It was, I wish it was longer. Obviously, realistically, I know that's not possible.
Yeah.
Those poor drivers were exhausted by the end of it. I was exhausted by the end of it, because again, I didn't get much sleep. But it was just so fun.
It was a lot of fun.
It was so much fun. So yeah, I'm super excited for. We don't know. We're dipping our toe into endurance racing.
Yeah.
We definitely want to follow the WEC series a lot more, and we said that after Daytona, and we didn't follow it too much. But I think this just reminded us again, why don't we? It's so fun.
Mm-hmm, for sure.
So yeah, we did a spotter guide before. We did a lot of research leading into Le Mans, because again, neither of us have watched it before.
Mm-hmm.
So there were definitely times where we're what's going on, and why are they doing that and not doing it this way?
Yeah.
But a quick run through, more so just I'm not going to go through the whole spotter guide, but some notable names that we knew coming into it are Kiffin Simpson from IndyCar, Scott Dixon from IndyCar, Felipe Drugovich. He is a reserve driver for Aston Martin F1, right?
Also Alex Palou from IndyCar.
Yeah. Robert Schwartzman, he's also a reserve driver for Formula One. Nolan Siegel from IndyCar. Roman Grosjean from IndyCar and F1. Valentino Rossi also drove in Le Mans. We have Mick Schumacher.
Poor Mick.
Clem Novalak, Frederick Vesti, Callum Ilott, we already talked about Alex Palou, Nick DeVries, Jenson Button, so many more. There were more people that we recognize, and again, we don't even follow WEC. So there are a lot of other iconic endurance racers that we weren't even familiar with before the weekend.
Yeah.
So it was really cool. We did do a lot of updates on our TikToks, so make sure you go look at those to kind of see our thoughts throughout the process. But all in all, by the end of it, I feel I had a good understanding of what was going on.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a lot of things to remember. Another thing to note is that a lot of teams have the same name. Say Cool Racing, there'll be, like, more than one Cool Racing team.
Yeah, or, like,
so
United Autosports.
Yeah, so not only do you have to remember, like, the team name, but you also have to remember the car number, and then each car number has 3 drivers, and they sometimes will only put the name there and the car number, and sometimes they will put the driver, but then you're like, wait, was he on that guy's team or that guy's team? And so the spotter guide that we made did come in very handy.
It came in so handy.
The amount of times I viewed our spotter guide,
yeah,
it was insane. We should have printed it out. I was out of ink. But
we did talk about that.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a fantastic race.
Yeah, it was really good. Should we give the standings real quick and then we can dive in on more of our thoughts?
Yes. So standings. So there are 3 categories. There's the hypercar category, there's the LMP2 category, and then there's the LMGT3 category. So for the hypercar category, Ferrari A of course won. The 50, because again, there's more than one Ferrari A, of course, but the car number 51, which they actually won last year as well.
Yeah, that's
so it's kind of
insane.
Kind of insane. And Ferrari is, again, I didn't know this before this weekend, but I learned it just from the commentators talking about it, but they took like a really long break from participating in endurance racing and just recently in the last couple of years came back. But they also like aren't like a real household name in endurance racing right now currently. Like they aren't one of the top teams to kind of keep an eye on. And of the last 2 years, they've only won 2 races, but both of the races were Le Mans.
Yeah, that's just so crazy.
Which is so crazy.
Yeah.
LMP2, United Autosport won, which is McLaren's team, so we're very excited.
Yeah.
Another thing to note is that it had 2 rookies.
2 rookies.
Which is insane. And one of the rookies was Nolan Siegel, who does IndyCar next and also has raced in an IndyCar race last weekend when he filled in for Canapino, which if you haven't listened to our last episode, go listen to it, but we talked about him quite a bit.
Yeah, we did.
So it was really cool that we talked about him so much in the last episode, and he comes and wins Le Mans.
No, literally. And
his rookie year.
Like, also, he faced, like, the lowest of low a month ago, not qualifying for the 500 and, like, being the person knocked out. And then now he is experiencing the highest of high of winning his category in Le Mans.
No,
what?
It's insane. And also,
that's
like,
insane.
I remember even when he got like knocked out of like the Indy 500 qualifying, like all of the older seasoned drivers were like, no, this kid's gonna be good. Like, give him like a couple years, he's gonna be a household name one day in racing. And then he's like, you know what? I don't need a couple of years. I'm gonna go win Le Mans.
I'll go win Le Mans. No worries.
People literally spend their whole lives dedicated to winning Le Mans.
Yeah, literally.
Like they're like literally like 50-year-olds driving Le Mans that have never won before.
Are still trying to win it, yeah.
And they're like, I just want to win Le Mans. This guy wins it. He's freaking 19 years old.
Insane. And he had some great driving too.
Yeah, and it's also like it wasn't he was being carried by these like 2 other amazing drivers, which obviously, they were amazing drivers, but like he had one like seasoned driver on there, and then the other guy was a rookie too.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with him, but it's Gorg.
Not familiar.
I can't read my handwriting, but but he's also a rookie. He's also from America, and they're both from America, the 2 rookies, and they grew up karting together.
That was really cute when they talked about that.
So the fact that they also got to win Le Mans together,
yeah,
for McLaren.
Oh my god,
it was really awesome.
It was really awesome.
Another thing to note is we are following the 34 car, because it is Clem Novalak that is on that car, and they did come in second, which is it. Clem did so good.
Yeah, Clem did so good. Both Clem and Nolan were good at catching up. And one of my favorite like lines that one of the announcers said, I forgot what announcer said it. They were like, Clement Novalak, rookie driver at Le Mans, takes his team to first place in the category. Instant chills.
Yeah, it was really special. And then the last category, which was the LMGT3 category, they barely talked about this category. Like,
but also, yeah,
they've definitely focused mostly on hypercar, and then next would be LMP2, which makes sense because that's like kind of like the way that they came in. That's like the order, that they would go in. But LMGT3 category, I wasn't familiar with anybody on this team, but the number 91 car won. It was Manthe EMA.
Well, we were familiar with Iron Dames.
Well, no, I wasn't familiar with that team.
Oh, the team. Sorry,
Yeah.
I thought you said anybody in the category.
No. So yeah, Valentino Rossi was also participating in this category.
Yeah.
He did not do very great because his teammate, I forget what it was. They had an issue with the car. I don't think he was the guy that lost the tire.
Oh my God, when the tire flew off.
We'll talk about that. But but Iron Dames did come in 5th, which is super exciting.
That's so good.
And all in all, amazing race.
It was good.
It was really good.
Let's talk about the safety cars.
Oh my gosh.
So how the safety car works for Le Mans is there's 4 stages. So when the safety car first comes out, it's like, also they deploy 3 safety cars.
Yeah.
Also, I love that they use the word deploy all week.
Yeah. It makes it like really like,
yeah.
they're coming in like as a squad.
No, literally. So it didn't matter. It's just kind of where you were lined up is how, like, what safety car you got behind. There was no like rhyme or reason for it. And like stage 1 is like, they call it intervention. It's basically like your standard safety car, like you're slowing down the speed, you're behind the safety car, no passing, and then you move on to stage 2, which is then also no passing. But it's like they're like one safety car, or the safety cars go away, and you're just behind one. And then once those 2 safety cars goes away, you move into stage 3, and then passing is allowed. And then once stage 3 and stage 4 hit, you're not allowed to pit anymore. So
it's really
confusing.
It was
so confusing. And then like stage 4 would hit, and then the first time it happened to me, I had no clue what was going on. They're like stage 4, and I was like, okay, what's stage 4 going to be? And they're like, safety car in this lap, we're going green. And I was like, wait, what? I was not expecting that.
The longest section is always the first zone, and then they come a little bit quicker. But like, yeah, the first time it happened, we're like, I remember the first safety car that happened. We just got back from the pool, and Gracie's like, all right, I'm gonna go take a shower. I'm like, okay, safety car just happened or whatever. And she comes out of the shower, she's like, how's the race? Is the safety car? I'm like, oh, no. No. I took a whole nap and then woke up. Safety car still on phase 1.
The first safety car was pretty long because a car hit the barriers.
Yeah, it was a pretty nasty crash.
Yeah. So they had to repair the barriers, which made sense that it was out for a while. And then later in the night, I would say this was around 10 p.m. Eastern time for us. Another safety car came out for like almost 5 hours maybe, because of the rain. The rain was so heavy, like...
Yeah, there was like gravel, like wind was picking up the gravel and throwing it on, and...
They had to slow those cars down.
Yeah.
That would have been so bad.
It was definitely like different than Formula 1 and Indycar, how they handle, and obviously the track is so big, it's literally like it's like 8 miles long, which makes the laps go by so much slower, obviously. But when you have the safety car, like if you don't pit at 1 lap and like you get like something happens with the tire and you get stuck all the way on the other side, it's not like Formula 1 where like maybe you can like make it back, chug your way back, like if you're like on the other side, like you're basically like screwed.
Oh my gosh.
And that caused a lot of like yellow flags. And then like they also do like they only will like do a yellow flag for one sector, but then if it's like long enough, they'll do like the full course yellow. So there's a lot of like differences that we had to like kind of learn as we were going along. It was really
fun to learn it because as we got through, and then we were like, oh, okay, just like a yellow, and we're like, oh, we were saying the wrong, we're like, oh, full course yellow is about to happen, we know it's gonna happen, and then it did. We were like, oh, we're like,
oh my gosh, yeah, we're getting it down.
We know what's happening.
But some fun things like happened, like at one, well, not fun things, but like interesting things happened throughout it. Like at one point, like somebody just like completely lost a tire because it wasn't put on correctly, and then like the car kept going and the tire was like chasing it.
It was funny.
Another point, there was a dog out on the track
and the marshals were chasing the dog down.
Yeah,
it was also during the rain.
Yeah, that poor dog, he's probably so scared.
Speaking of the marshals, during that 4-hour safety car, they were waving that flag.
Oh my god, yeah.
Obviously there were a ton of marshals and they obviously rotate to sleep, but they probably were like going for a while.
Yeah, like that would hurt.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
The safety cars also, the safety car was so long, the safety cars had to pull out to refill gas.
The safety cars ran out of fuel.
Like that, it's like the safety car almost needed a safety car.
Uh-huh. It was insane.
It was just a lot of like crazy things. Another thing I loved, the like category of content is watching all of the mechanics like sleeping in the garages or like trying to stay awake,
like doing silly things.
Yeah, like, and everyone was like so delirious. Like even there was like a clip of like some Italian presenters, like they started like singing because they're just like at like it was like 3 a.m. They're like, I have no sleep. They would pan to like mechanics and like one mechanic would be sleeping in a chair and like the other mechanics would be like stacking stuff on top of him to see if like he'd wake up kind of thing. Mm-hmm. It was just so fun. It's so like silly.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of times like, you know, like with like non-endurance races, like you don't get that like side of things. You don't see, because there's no time to, like there's too much to focus on track.
Oh yeah.
But like you definitely got to see more of the behind the scenes because they had 24 hours worth of like media to fill stuff like content into.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
We got to see like some other stuff too.
I have 2 things I was thinking about earlier. First of all, I'm going to talk about how they really favored the hypercars, and quite literally at one point they were on the LMP2 cars, and it was, I forget I don't think it was United Autosport at this point, but it was Clem and his team were in second place, and he was going to overtake the first person in first place in the LMP2 category, and they literally stopped showing it and went to a hypercar at a pit stop.
Yeah.
I don't care to see the windshield being cleaned. You got away from an overtake for first place in a category. And like, I was like screaming at my TV. It was like 6 a.m. I think. Yeah. I was so frustrated.
I experienced it. It is like, yeah, it is frustrating because like we like, obviously like everyone cares about hypercars because they're the fastest on the track. Like they're the ones that like everybody would like to drive a hypercar.
Yeah.
But like, we also are dedicated to like seeing what the winner for LMP2 is. Like the other categories, like we want to see, and I think they needed to do it. Like Formula One actually does a great job of that. I think
they
is
do
that
too.
Like even if there's like a battle at the front and a battle at the back, they don't just focus on the battle at the front. Like do tell us a lot. Not always. There will be times where I'm like, oh my gosh,
you're like, what is going on right now?
Logan's not in the race anymore.
Oh my god, yeah. Stop.
Like when did that happen? No, it's true. It's happened multiple times.
It has.
But I think they need to do a better job. I mean, again, you have 24 hours worth of content. You can show that car getting a pit stop the next time.
No, literally. Like, I was so... it wasn't anything special about the pit stop either.
Yeah.
And they literally just like, oh, a hypercar's pitting? Let's film them.
Yeah.
There is an on-track battle happening right now. That was so frustrating.
It just made it even worse, too, because it was Clem, and we wanted to see it.
I know, I wanted to... I mean, they went back and showed the replay, but I wanted to see it in live time.
Yeah.
I don't know. Another thing we need to talk about is... Callum Eilot's team, the number 12 car for Hertz, they, in qualifying, I forget if it was qualifying for practice. I don't remember. But the car got in an accident, and the team literally had 24 hours to basically completely rebuild the car. And they somehow managed to do it, and the car lasted the entire 24 hours, and they did great. They got 8th place in the hypercar category. Yeah. Like, that's literally insane. Yeah. How fast they... like, literally the day before they got, like, special permission to go to, like, the closest, like, airport. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. Yeah, airport. To go to the closest airport to, like, shake down the car and test it. Which is literally so insane. They did very well. Yeah, no, I think the biggest thing, like, these cars, like, don't crash into each other. I mean, they sometimes on accident, but really it's not, like, crashing into each other. It's an issue. It's that they're literally driving for 24 hours straight, and they're made to build... They're, like, built for speed, but reliable speed. Like, you have to be, like, realistic and be like, we still need to kind of keep the car running for the full 24 hours, which is really hard. So it's, like, really... A lot of the cars that, like, were just out because of, like, mechanical failure. Like, it wasn't, like, a crash or anything, which... is interesting because there was a lot of rain. It could have been some pretty nasty crashes. Alpine. I was just about to say, not all the cars could build a reliable. Not all the teams could build a reliable car. Yeah, Alpine had a pretty rough weekend. This was their first time in the hypercar category. So yes, that is something to note. It is something to note, and the way I saw someone describe it is they basically had an F2 engine. And they thought that would last for 24 hours. Yeah, so they had to pull it was just 2, right? Yeah, they both of their cars, including Mick's car, which was so disappointing. I remember it was like after we had got back from the pool and I like came out and I was like, where's Mick? I was like, I feel like we haven't like even, like, in their garages, we haven't seen Mick. Like, we haven't heard them be talked about. Like, we like, check the score every once in a while. And I was like, I literally have no clue where Mick is. And I get on Twitter, and I just see the Alpine endurance team tweeting. And I was like, oh!
Yeah.
They're out.
You know, it's pretty on brand for Alpine.
It is pretty on brand
for this year. Alpine, I think, really needs just they need a new reset year.
Like which, actually, I saw a rumor that Renault is thinking about not keeping up their engine contract with Alpine.
Interesting.
Yeah, that would be very interesting. Once again, rumor. Oh, and then I have one more thought. This is also me and my love of Alani Nu. Energy drink companies, why aren't they bigger sponsors for, like, endurance racing?
Yeah.
And you know what I thought of? Actually, I don't know if Alani Nu is worldwide or just in the States. Or, like, just in North America. But energy drink company, Alani Nu, sponsoring the Iron Dames.
Oh, yeah.
Like, they literally have, like, a pink slush drink.
That would be... And I would love for them to have a Iron Dames flavor.
No. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
They do an Addison Rae flavor. Why can't they do an Iron Dames flavor?
That'd be so good. And, like, I feel like that's a good thing to take advantage of.
Yeah, but it is interesting that there's not more, like... sponsors like that, which honestly there aren't a lot of sponsors at all for Le Mans. Like, there aren't a lot of sponsors in endurance racing, like, not like Formula 1 and IndyCar.
Yeah, it's like a little different.
Some, but yeah, it's kind of perfect because, you know, we see, like, obviously Red Bull, Monster, 5 Hour Energy, all of them involved in, like, other motorsport. You'd think this would be like a take. It'd be like, stay up for the full 24 hours, here you go. Like,
or even just, like, I don't know, like an Instagram ad or something.
Yeah. I drank 2 Red Bulls during Le Mans.
It also made me think of this because I drank an Alani Nu and I tagged them on Instagram and they responded to our story.
Yep. They said something like cherry slush fuel.
Yeah.
Funny.
That was funny. They got it. They understood it. And then I was literally in the car. I, like, saw they had, like, responded to us. And then I was, like, driving and I was, like, thinking about it. I was like, that's genius, I feel like.
Yeah. We also you brought that up about how Alani Nu should sponsor a Formula 1 Academy team.
I think they should, too. Yeah. That'd be very good.
Alani Nu was just such, like, a girly. And we're like, yes.
They should do it.
Yeah, we should DM them.
Yeah.
Give that suggestion.
I bet they're listening.
Yeah, there you go. If you're listening, if you work at Alani Nu and you like this idea, DM us, we can talk. We'll give you some information. We'll be your ambassadors.
Oh, yeah.
Free Alani Nu. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts on Le Mans?
No, I'm excited for next year.
Yeah, I'm excited for next year. I'm excited for some more endurance racing. We have gotten it in our heads that we are going to go to Daytona 24. I'm excited.
It in our heads that we're going to go to a lot of races.
Yeah, unfortunately, we're going to have we actually, right before we started filming this, we're looking at, like, our calendar. We're like, okay, this month we're going to try to go to this one. And, like, this month is this one. And this month we got this going on and this going on and this race and all this stuff. And we're like, wow, we are actually, like, really busy until
even outside of, like,
pretty much December.
Yeah, even outside of motorsports, we're like, oh, we have, like, this friend's birthday, this friend's, like, thing, that, like, work this, work that. And then we were like, oh.
Yeah. Oh, it's Christmas time.
Yeah, literally.
And then it'll be the Daytona 24.
Crazy.
It'll be fun. Oh, something also that you brought up about the dates for Daytona 24. What could possibly
okay,
happen.
So the Formula 1 season is starting a little bit later this year. And the Daytona 24 is usually in January. So potentially maybe F1 drivers could do the Daytona 24 because, like, the 2023 the Daytona race this year, 2024, Alex Albon was supposed to do it and, like, Williams was like, yeah, do it, like, go ahead, that'd be great. Like, we've seen Lando and Fernando do it before, but then the teams realized, they were like, it is way too close to the season starting, like we need you in gear for our season. And so he wasn't actually able to compete in it, and he had to, like, withdraw. But if it's a little later,
could potentially
happen.
That'd
be fun.
Another thing to note, though, is that the IndyCar schedule came out, and there is an IndyCar race during Le Mans weekend. There's also a Formula 1 race during Le Mans weekend, which really basically shuts down any IndyCar driver and any Formula 1 driver to participate unless they were to skip their own race, which honestly I could see a lot of, especially, like, for some IndyCar drivers that maybe aren't battling for the championship. I'm assuming that they will skip an IndyCar race to participate in Le Mans. It'd be silly if they didn't.
Grosjean was pissed.
Yeah, no, it's silly. It doesn't make any sense.
It's Le Mans.
And it worked out perfectly this weekend. Like, nobody, like, there were no other races going on. It also allowed, like us to, like, focus purely on Le Mans. I'm sure that the people, like, that put it on Le Mans were not very happy.
Like, it doesn't make sense.
And, like, even I can see, like, Indycar, it making sense because they're run by, like, different entities.
Good point.
But Formula 1 is literally also run by the FIA, and WEC is run by the FIA as well.
Uh-huh.
So, like, you would think that there'd be some communication.
Yeah. But also, you're trying to consider this as part of the it's part of the Triple Crown of Motorsport, but you're not going to give drivers an opportunity to try and compete in it.
Another thing is, I am assuming that Le Mans and also Formula 1 want to grow their American viewers.
Good point.
So why would they schedule it during Formula 1, which is making a huge, jump in. Mm-hmm. You'd think that you'd want, like, nothing else in the way.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make a lot of sense.
No, it doesn't make sense.
Silly, silly, silly. Will we be watching all three? Yes.
What a weekend.
We already had, last weekend we watched Formula 1 and IndyCar was going on at the same time. So we had to watch the qualifying literally with 2 screens. We're going to need a 3rd screen.
No, we won't.
Actually, that's right, because IndyCar.
Well, maybe for qualifying, but
where are they for Formula 1?
Formula 1's Canada.
So they're all going to be in the same time zone. Like, IndyCar and Formula 1 could probably be going on at the same time.
Oh, yeah, good point, actually.
And then if Le Mans is still going on, depending on time, it's going to be a mess.
Qualifying will be
Luckily,
crazy.
we have a whole year to figure that out. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So, Le Mans was great. We're excited.
Yeah.
And I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Let's give our champagne pops and our champagne problems for Le Mans.
Okay, yes, absolutely. Start with champagne pops.
Champagne pops. I'm giving mine to Car 22 LMP2 United Autosports, which was Nolan's team who got first place. 2 rookies, like we've talked about.
Absolutely.
They did so good, and they had a few catch-up moments, too. It's not like they were leading the whole time. Mm-hmm. Very, very good.
Yeah, that was my first thought as well.
Yeah.
I'm also going to give an honorable mention to Nick DeVries' team, Toyota Gazoo Racing, because they were close. Like, it was a close race.
It was.
And they were leading a lot of the race. It was really sad seeing, like, it's like, I cried when Ferrari won. I'm not a Ferrari fan, but, like, these guys have literally been preparing for this. Again, Le Mans is such an iconic race. People, like, race their whole lives to try to win. Mm-hmm. And then, on another note, like, these guys have been up for 24 hours straight. Like, they get time to sleep, but, like, your adrenaline is so high. Like, they aren't getting good sleep when they're
not in REM, that's for sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. They are not in their REM cycle. So, like, these guys are, like, at this point, like, exhausted.
Yeah.
And especially, like, just over, like, the past couple of weeks preparing, but also just being up for 24 hours. And, like, everyone was, like, so emotional.
Yeah, and like, the mechanics and everybody in the garage. Yeah.
The clip of the other 2 drivers that weren't in the car for Ferrari reacting to them winning was the cutest fucking thing I've ever seen. It was adorable. But then they panned to Toyota Gazoo Racing. And
to Nick.
They were all so sad. Like, they were just like, oh, like, it's all right, buddy. Like, I am too emotional for that.
You know what it also led to, before we do our champagne problems? I saw so many people on Twitter being like, who, like, don't really branch out into other motorsports, which is fine. If you only want to watch F1, that's fine. But everybody was like, I didn't realize Nick DeVries was actually a good driver. I thought he was just going to shit the bed everywhere. Like, okay.
He's fantastic in Formula E.
Great.
That's another thing that we've never really branched out into Formula E. We've watched one Formula E race.
We did watch one Formula E race.
So maybe that's something we'll dip our toe in as well.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
we gotta support McLaren. Sam Bird. We know a little bit, very little, but like we do know that Nick does amazing in Formula E, and
he did so good this weekend. It just like made me mad when people were like, "Yeah, I just assumed he was shit at everything." Like, don't be annoying.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, and you know what? Logan Sargent's going to do the same damn thing. He's going to either join IndyCar or Formula E or endurance racing, and he's going to be like, "Damn, Logan's so good."
Oh my god. Okay, first of all, that laugh was insane because I'm a little sick. That sounded like I had a smoker's cough. Caveat, your smile was, you looked scared.
Because I am.
Yeah, for sure. Ignore that laugh. I'm sick. Anyway.
What were we talking about? Oh.
Champagne problems.
I mean, I know mine right off the bat.
Go ahead.
Alpine, the team in general.
Oh, yeah.
And the tire. The lone tire.
I gave mine to Robert I always say his last name wrong.
Kubica?
He caused a crash. That caused that first safety car that lasted for a while.
Yeah.
And then, unfortunately, Robert Schwartzman was also on that team. And towards the very end of the race, Robert Schwartzman was in the car, and something happened with the car. Mm-hmm. And they had to retire, which was unfortunate.
Whenever the crash happened, Robert Schwartz was on the screen, like, in the garage or whatever. They panned over to him, and he just was shaking his head.
Yeah.
It was so sad, actually.
He literally was like, ugh.
Yeah. I think just Alpine in general gets the champagne problem, or the champagne problem of the week.
Yeah.
But there were a lot of unfortunate. Valentino Rossi's team got into an accident or a car malfunction. I don't remember what exactly happened. I think it was an accident. And that really kind of grew into their race, which is tough because a lot of eyes were on his team because it's Valentino Rossi.
Yeah.
So it was sad, but
we had fun watching Le Mans.
Mm-hmm.
We'll definitely be watching next year.
Will do again.
And if you see us reporting more on WEC, join us. Shall we move on to Formula One?
Yeah, let's do our predictions.
We are headed into a triple header for Formula One. So it will be the Spanish Grand Prix, it will be the Austrian Grand Prix, and then it will be Silverstone.
Mm-hmm. All great races coming up. We have Carlos's home race, and then we have Red Bull's home race,
yep.
And then we have a billion people's home race. George, Lewis, Lando, technically
McLaren,
Mercedes,
Aston
Martin.
So we did a little outfit change.
Yes.
AKA my computer ran out of storage, so...
We just had a bit of technical difficulties.
Yeah, if that isn't the life of Podium Pop, honestly.
Classic Podium Pop. Likely place for them to be.
Mm-hmm. So it is now the next day, so we're going to keep the first half of our episode, and then we're going to kind of continue on the second half talking about Formula One, and we are now going to talk about Carlos Sainz's interview he did.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't listened to it all the way through, but we caught clips here and there, and there was a very interesting one. Do you want to explain it?
Yeah, so in this, I actually just saw it quoted. I didn't even listen to it. But he basically is talking about, like, his future in Formula One and kind of explaining it and breaking it down. And he implies, he does not confirm, he implies kind of the statement saying... So you have the two rookies that will come in, and or the two new guys that will come in, and then the other 18 guys all kind of like shift around and swap. And like everyone is saying that was like they were like, what does he know? Like he knows that there's only going to be two rookies, which like in all actuality, I think he just used two as an example, and he used two as like a placeholder. I don't think he knows what's going on at other teams.
Yeah,
he doesn't know what's going on at Haas. He does not know what's going on at Alpine.
He might know like a little bit, but he
might know rumors.
Yeah, especially when trying to find a team. But
it did make me think, like, if there were only two rookies, who would those rookies be?
Yeah,
because I think it's pretty much 100% guaranteed that Ollie is going to be one of those rookies.
I agree too. And if it's not, like, Haas is fumbling with Ollie.
Mm-hmm. But then you have to consider, okay, well, who's the other rookie? Is it Jack? Is it Kimi? And so I think that
if there's only two rookies, I don't think it would be Liam.
No.
Oh my god.
I mean, I don't think Liam's gonna have a spot in Formula One next year.
No.
I think he's gonna be a reserve driver for another year, and then maybe, depending on how things go. But at some point, Liam, you gotta cut the cord.
He has got to cut the cord.
You might have to jump ship, because you know what, you're gonna end up just like all of the other. You know, I don't even know who it was, but Red Bull even just dropped another one of their academy drivers.
Yeah, from the junior program.
After he was only in it for a couple of months. Poor little fellow.
Sorry, I got us derailed.
Oh, yes. Anyways.
The 2 rookies.
So I think it's Ollie. And then I do think that if there were only 2, I do think that it would be Kimmy.
Yeah.
Unless something insane happens and he, like, starts, like, DNFing at every single race in F2, I think that he'll be in Formula 1 next year. I think a lot of people are expecting him to come into Mercedes, but I don't know if they're going to do that or not.
So I feel like it will for sure be Ollie. If, like, this hypothetical is true of only 2 rookies. I think I could definitely see Kimmy replacing Logan after summer break. Unfortunately. I don't think he would stay at Williams for 2026 because...
I think maybe if they bring Kimmy in, I think maybe the reason why Carlos hasn't announced where he's going yet is because they want to wait to see how Kimmy does, and they'll basically slot Carlos into the other spot. So if Kimmy comes in for Williams the second half of the year and does bad, well, they're like, okay, Carlos, you do Mercedes, and we'll keep Kimmy at Williams another year. If he comes in and kills it, then they're like, okay, Carlos, you're going to Williams, and maybe that's why he hasn't. But then again, why would they, like, put that much, like, I don't know, because... That's, like, all of this dependent on Kimmy, but, like, why would it not be dependent on someone like Carlos?
Yeah.
Like, Carlos has more experience. I don't know. Like, I know Kimmy's a good driver, but, like, he was a good driver in these lower series that we know for a fact does not always transfer over to Formula 1. So why would they put that much weight behind a kid that could be good?
Yeah.
Child.
Could be good. 17. Also, no offense, it's a fucking Williams. Put Kimmy in Williams, and he could do great, honestly. But like, it's still a Williams. Alex Albon is a fantastic driver, and you're putting him in a Williams.
I was honestly really disappointed that Alex didn't go to Mercedes. Like, I know I wasn't expecting it.
Yeah. But
Alex deserves to be at a higher up team, and yes, I think Alex also wants to be that team that's gonna, or be that person that's gonna help grow a team. And I think he's comfortable at Williams. But to be fair, Mercedes has quite a bit of growing to do.
I feel like that kind of shows how much faith Alex has in Williams and what he's seen behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm. It does make you wonder.
Yeah, it makes you wonder what's
maybe
going
Carlos
on.
Sees that as well, and maybe that's why Carlos is, at this point, seemingly going to Williams next year. Nothing confirmed. Although I wonder if we'll get an announcement this weekend with it being his home Grand Prix.
Whoa. I didn't even think about that.
It could happen at any moment, really.
Oh my god, now I'm scared.
Realistically, it probably happened, like, Wednesday night. Like, we would probably find out about Wednesday night.
Yeah, for, like,
because media is so early.
Yeah.
That I think we'd find out about it Wednesday. Which is 2 days away.
Oh. Scary.
Very scary. But yeah, maybe they know something that we don't, or maybe they're already, like, they think that the new regulations are really going to help them out.
Yeah.
Which I think it will, but I don't know. A lot to think about, a lot to unpack there. But I do hope Jack gets a seat at Alpine. Mm-hmm. And actually, I was just watching somebody's live, and we were talking about Alpine and who we think the drivers' lineups are. It was MJ. Mm-hmm. And MJ thinks that Pierre's not staying at Alpine next year.
Oh, really?
But then I made a point that was like, they already announced Esteban wasn't going to be there next year. Why would they not announce both at the same time?
Oh my god, imagine they announced a double departure. I'm still sticking to my guns that I feel like they couldn't afford, unless Pierre's leaving on his own, they couldn't afford to lose Pierre because...
Well, if he continues damaging the car, they can't really afford to keep him.
Yeah, but who would they bring in?
Financially.
Who did MJ think they're bringing in?
Financially. I don't think she had an actual person. She jokingly put around Jack and Mick, which I would love.
Actually, I would love that.
But I really, I don't know.
I'm not talking, like, by afford, I mean, like, experience afford.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
I don't even know, I know everyone, like, probably wants to get back into Formula 1, but, like, Mick seems so happy in endurance racing right now.
Yeah, I feel like he does. I've seen people
like,
make those points before.
And, like...
He has talked saying that, like, his ultimate goal is to get back to Formula 1, but I feel like he's doing good in endurance.
Yeah. It seems just like he's in a better mental health spot as well.
I wasn't here for his Haas times.
I wasn't super, like, around for his Haas times either, but, like, it just more so it just feels like, I don't know, I just look at Mick like he's just a little baby and I need to protect him, and they were so mean to him.
Yeah.
Everyone.
Actually, I feel like we're probably pretty glad I wasn't a Formula 1 fan.
You would have loved Mick.
I would have tore down the whole fucking world.
Yeah. So, it'll be interesting, though, but it's gonna, I think the pieces will come together soon. I heard rumors that the lineup for next year is already set. They just haven't announced everything. Like, everything is set in stone for next year.
Really?
Yeah, like, that everyone knows what, like, internally every team knows who is going to be driving next year and where they're going to be driving.
Well, if internally every team knows that, then this makes a ton of sense because today they announced that Ollie is taking K-Mag's spot in FP1. So, Ollie will be getting another FP1 session this week, which is pretty exciting. And that also leads us into the fact that this is a busy race week.
Oh, yeah.
Formula 3, Formula 2, Formula 1, Formula 1 Academy, IndyCar.
So, if you don't already, make sure you go follow us on social media. I did post a schedule on Instagram and on TikTok of everything in Eastern Standard Time Zone. It's going to be an early one for the Formula 1 races.
Yeah.
Like, Formula 1 Academy, like, the first practice is at, like, 2:30 a.m. Huh? Okay. But, yeah, like, and it's weird, too, because it's such a busy, because they're all driving around the same track. It's so busy that, like, one of the Formula 1 Academy races is at 2:30 a.m. our time, and the next one is at 12:30 p.m. So that's, like, a 10-hour gap, which is kind of crazy to think about. So they might be, like, literally one of the first races and one of the last races.
Oh my god, I cannot wrap my head around that.
Yeah, it's a lot to think about.
It is a lot to think about.
Busy weekend, though, and we have IndyCar this weekend as well, which thankfully will be at a more reasonable time for us.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a great weekend.
I mean, coming off of Le Mans and then into this busy weekend, I did check to make sure there wasn't any Formula E races because I was going to add them to the schedule. There isn't.
I guess there is Indy next, too. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. I should have added them.
It's okay. Next time.
Indy next time.
Indy next time.
Very quick note about Indy Next. There's a lot of good drivers in Indy Next.
Oh, there's a ton of good drivers in Indy
I'm
Next.
also excited to hear once the teams start getting kind of solidified for next year for IndyCar too, because I need Jamie Chadwick.
I know. I'll be very interested to see that. We were also, this just kind of hit me. The Prima seat in IndyCar.
Oh,
we've talked about it a lot.
Oh my god, yeah. Logan. I think
That'd
it
be very
interesting. But I would love, yeah. I wonder when they'll announce that.
I know.
Because it's not like something you have to wait, really. They have
Yeah.
to, I guess maybe they're waiting on Formula 1.
Chips to lie. Is that the same? How the chips fall? How the chips
fall. How the chips...
How the cookie crumbles.
Yep.
They gotta see how that cookie's gonna crumble.
Sometimes it crumbles one way. Sometimes it crumbles another way. So you gotta wait. Anyways,
should we talk about our Spanish Grand Prix predictions?
I think so. Who do you think's getting pole?
Oscar. I wrote these yesterday, and then
lovely.
I completely forgot what I put.
Lovely. I would love for Oscar to get pole.
Yeah, I think Oscar's gonna get pole.
I think Max is gonna get pole.
Okay. Yeah, probably, honestly.
But I'd like for Oscar to get pole.
Top 3, I think.
I did Max, Lando, and I'm throwing him a bone here, Carlos.
Oh.
Just for his home Grand Prix.
I didn't give it to people, but I think it's going to be a Red Bull, a McLaren, a Ferrari.
Interesting. So we both could be right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. What order? Red Bull, McLaren, Ferrari?
Yes.
That's what I did. I did my order. I originally put it Max, Carlos, Lando, but I went back because another thing though is that I think if it's not Max, Lando, Carlos, I think it's going to be Max, Lando, Oscar.
Yeah.
Because it's really hit or miss with Ferraris.
It is.
They can have a great week and then they can have a double DNF.
I was going to say, yeah. So, I have 2 questions.
Okay.
Do you think Mercedes is going to stay on this uphill climb?
No.
Okay.
I think that this has happened so many times that I am anticipating that, I don't want to call it a fluke because their car did look really good, but great. I think a lot of it was dependent on the fact that they weren't having to really deal and battle with the Ferraris.
Oh, wow. You're right.
Because, like, yes, they did have technically, like, quicker pace than the Ferraris, but we know that that doesn't always mean anything.
Yeah, if the Ferraris had a different strategy in Canada, would they have started that high up?
Yeah.
Okay, wow, I didn't even think about that. Great point.
Mm-hmm.
Leading into it, do you think Ferrari's going to improve their strategies from Canada? Do you think it's going to be
for the sake of Charles's mental health? I hope so.
Yeah. Are we thinking a 180? Or are we thinking
I'm thinking, I think they will improve strategy. Mm-hmm. I think that when normal things happen, Ferrari has good strategy.
Yeah.
Versus, like, other teams are really good at pivoting. Ferrari is a little stubborn. And which is very Ferrari of them. Very stubborn and won't necessarily pivot the strategy as hard as they need to pivot. Mm-hmm. For, like, the rain, for example.
Yeah.
Like, McLaren and Red Bull and Mercedes were able to be like, okay, like, we had this strategy coming in, and yes, we had this all planned out, and we had it perfect and ready to go, but things changed, let's change.
Yeah.
And Ferrari did that a little bit, but then they're like, no, let's put on the original tires that we were planning on putting on your car, even though it's raining, and that makes no sense, and nobody else is doing it.
Yeah, good point.
And I think they're just a little stubborn, and they think that... They don't think, actually.
No, they don't. We've even heard Charles say that.
So, yeah, so I think that as long as it's a relatively normal weekend, I think their strategy will be fine.
Okay.
But if there's any weird crashes, or if there's any weird, like, crazy safety cars, or if there's any weird weather, I think it can throw a wrench in their plans.
Speaking of crashes, I have in my predictions a lap 1 incident leading to a double DNF. Not a double, a 2-car DNF.
Okay, I was like, damn, who?
No, a 2-car DNF.
I hope it's not Williams or Ferrari. They can't afford another one.
No, they can't.
Interesting. What makes you think that? Just a gut feeling?
Yeah, just gut feeling.
Okay.
I also think Williams is going to do good again in qualifying because there's a decent straight at in Spain. Mm-hmm. But I don't think that's going to translate.
Let's hope they both make the Q2.
Yeah. Well, I would love for that to happen again.
We should record our reaction again.
Yeah, for sure. I love doing that.
I'm excited. Mm-hmm. And I do also am predicting that we get an announcement from Carlos this weekend.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. Carlos to Alpine. Carlos and Pierre as teammates after Pierre's come out and said that Carlos and Charles aren't that good of friends. That'd be insane.
They're both ex-Max teammates.
They are both ex-Max teammates. That was hard for me to say for some reason.
Ex-Red Bull boys.
Mm-hmm. Toro Rosso. AlphaTauri.
Toro Rosso. Mm-hmm.
Crazy.
Should we talk about Indycar?
Mm-hmm.
Let's chat about it. Give us a little rundown. You had a fun little fact this morning.
Did I?
Uh-huh. About Laguna Seca?
The name?
Yeah.
So they're racing at Laguna Seca, the track, and Laguna Seca means dry lake.
Technically, it means dry lagoon.
Whatever.
I looked it up. Lagoon and lake are pretty much the same thing. But yes, it's a little fun thing. So they're in, where is it actually called? Monterey.
They're in Monterey, California.
Yeah. But everyone references it as Laguna Seca.
That's what the track calls. It's pretty, like, iconic of a track. Mm-hmm. Like, Teo was tweeting today, and he was like, I'm very excited to race here at this track. Before we talk about Laguna, though, we need to talk about how they did testing in Milwaukee. Mm-hmm. So they did testing in Milwaukee for the hybrid cars, and they're bringing out the hybrid cars not at Laguna, but in Mid-Ohio, which is the race after Laguna, which we will be at Mid-Ohio. Woohoo! So look out for that.
Very excited.
That was also David Malux's first time back to, like, in a car and driving, and that man just topped the charts. He came in and said, sorry guys, I will be coming back strong.
He's hungry.
He is hungry.
He's got something to prove.
And Pato got second in the testing, so great for my boys.
Great for our boys.
What are you thinking with David? How do you think he's going to come back?
I think he's going to I think he's going to be a little shaky on the first race. I'm going to give him that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think all in all for the rest of the season, I think he's going to come in and prove that he is he was good enough to get on Air McLaren, which is a good team. Yeah. A very good team. And yes, circumstances made it to where he couldn't, continue on that team. Mm-hmm. But I hope he does really good.
Me too.
I think he will.
I wrote down, I think he's going to get, I'm hoping for a top 10. And I think he could do it, but I think he'll be near it, a top 10. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's been a while since he's been in the car.
Yeah.
But besides testing.
He did so good during testing, maybe he does a great qualifying, and then even if he's shaky during the race, if he qualifies high enough, he might still be able to pull out a top 10 with that, so.
Fingers crossed.
Be very happy with that.
So they're going to be at Laguna. Mm-hmm. Do you have any predictions?
Pietro's top 10.
Oh.
I originally put Pietro on my podium, but Gracie told me I had to be realistic.
For my predictions, I don't think a Penske's going to be on the podium.
God. I hope not. I mean, I want some variety. I did make my podium guess, and I did have a Penske. I had Scotty Mack on there.
Oh, I would be fine with that.
And then I didn't put it in an order. Mm-hmm. Well, I did put it in order, but I didn't mean to put it in order. But I had Scotty Mack, and then I did Colton and Kyle.
Oh, nice.
Nice little Andretti double podium.
Mm-hmm. I think we're going to see an Air McLaren.
I'd love that. Teo.
Whoa. That'd be crazy.
He's been doing good.
Teo's been doing so good. Mm-hmm. Like,
I'd love to watch him get his first podium.
That'd be really cute.
That'd be cute.
I feel like he's high up in the running for Rookie of the Year. Mm-hmm. Just given the fact that he's two races down from the other rookies, and he's not that far behind points-wise.
Yeah.
I think he has 71, and Linus is in first with 100 points. Like, first of the rookies.
Yeah. I can check real quick.
Yeah.
Linus is in first with... Oh. What? How does that work?
I don't know what you're looking at. I was right. He has 75, and Linus has 100. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, neither do I. And Kiff has 81. Mm-hmm. So yeah, Teo's literally in third. For him being behind on races, I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, for sure. And he... Never mind. I don't know where I was going with that.
Okay.
Ignore me.
Any other predictions for IndyCar? Any fights? Canapino's back in the car. Ooh. Ferrucci and Canapino take each other out?
I would giggle.
Giggle a little.
Giggle alert. Oh my god. We should start doing giggle alerts.
Yeah.
Like things we've laughed at.
Mm-hmm.
Giggle alert of the week. Giggle of the day.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Giggle of the day. Cackle of the day.
Yeah. Well, no, you got your giggle of the day and then you have your cackle of the day.
Yeah.
What was your giggle of the day today? Sorry, I put you on the spot.
Yeah,
if you can't think of one.
I can't. What's yours?
My giggle of the day was... Oh, okay, well, I have to preface this a bit. I'm a nanny, so I took my nanny kids to the museum today, and there was an exhibit that the people were like, you know, they gave us a preference. They're like, there is like a mature exhibit, like if you have young kids, maybe don't take them there. And one of my nanny kids looks at me and goes, I don't think we should go to that. And I laughed, and I was like, yeah, we won't go to that one.
Which one was it?
Yeah.
Very him.
Yeah. I was like, it's okay, we won't go there.
Yeah.
I was like, I won't make you do that, buddy.
We shouldn't go there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
We won't be, don't worry. That was my giggle of the day.
I guess my giggle of the day would be, I didn't really do much today, honestly. I was by myself pretty much all day until Gracie got here.
Hey.
My cat was being cute.
Did that make you giggle?
In her cat bed up against the window.
Cute.
I sent Gracie a video of it. Did you look at that?
I didn't. I think that was during my nap.
You should look at it. She was purring really loud.
Cute.
Anything else to add?
I don't think so.
I think we covered everything. It was a lot to cover.
It was a lot to cover.
Next week is going to be a lot to cover because we will be touching on, hopefully, definitely F1, F2, Formula 1 Academy, and Indycar. It's going to be a yapper.
If a lot happens in IndyCar, we'll do a two-parter.
Yeah,
because that's too much for an episode. We'll break it down for you guys.
Mm-hmm. A little 2-for-1 combo.
It's also like Monday. It's early in the week. I don't know why I'm feeling like a lot of things are stirring up. Like we're getting closer to summer break. Like
the dust is kicking up, ain't it?
The dust is kicking up, I fear.
Mm-hmm. And a sandstorm is coming, baby.
A debris storm is coming.
Nick debris.
That's also something we kept doing during Le Mans. One of us would be like, "Oh, Mick did this," and you'd be like, "Nick," and I'd be like, "No, Mick," and you'd be like, "Wait, which one?"
I'm like, "Nick? No, Mick. Nick?
Schumacher."
Yeah. DeVries. Mm-hmm. Yep, I love it. Well, I was just gonna close out.
Yeah, no, me too.
That's the episode. Make sure to go follow us on social media if you don't already follow us. Again, next week we'll be recapping definitely one episode, possibly two. Mm-hmm. And we will start talking a little bit more next episode probably about the upcoming races, making some predictions. Mid-Ohio will be here before you know it, and that will be a very exciting one for us. We'll probably have that episode out a little bit later also, because we'll have to recap our time at Mid-Ohio and also recap Silverstone.
Actually, we could very well we could transport our equipment from Mid-Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We definitely could.
Yeah.
Film the episode up there.
Oh, a
Sunday
new location.
Night. We'll see.
Yeah.
Could be getting a little treat.
Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.